I walked miles in the burning sun, just to bring her favorite flower fresh from the garden. But when I offered it with trembling hands, she had sighed and said her room was already filled with roses from someone else. I'm writing this at 3 a.m. in a motel room that smells like cigarettes and broken dreams. My hands won't stop shaking. I keep thinking about those sunflowers I grew for Sarah. How I was to think a flower could fix what I destroyed. Let me be clear from the start. I'm not the victim here. I'm the monster in this story. It started 6 months ago. Sarah and I had been together for 4 years, engaged for 8 months. We had this little apartment with a fire escape that led to the roof, where I'd started a small garden. Just containers and planters. But Sarah loved those sunflowers. She'd take pictures of them every morning with her coffee. They follow the sun all day. She'd say, smiling at me like I hung the stars. Just like how I follow God. I was such an. The betrayal didn't happen overnight. It never does. It started with Rebecca from my office. Innocent conversations by the coffee machine. Compliments about presentations. Her laughing at jokes that weren't even funny. We're so different from my boyfriend. She'd say. Actually listen. I should have walked away. Instead, I started staying late when I knew she'd be there. Started looking forward to those conversations more than going home to Sarah, who'd greet me with dinner and stories about her day teaching kindergarten. Sarah would show me drawings her kids made. Stick figures of families. Happy houses with crooked chimneys. She'd talk about wanting kids of our own someday. How she'd teach them to garden like I taught her. I'd nod and smile while texting Rebecca. The first time I crossed the line was at the office Christmas party. Sarah couldn't come because she was home with the flu. Rebecca and I ended in the parking lot, talking about nothing important. Then I her back. This is wrong, I said afterward, but I didn't mean it. Not really. Because I suggested we get coffee the next day. One coffee became lunch. Lunch became drinks after work. Drinks became lies to Sarah about having to work late. The lies became easier each time. Seemed distant lately. Sarah said one evening, curled next to me on our couch. The couch we'd bought together at a thrift store. The one with the wonky leg we propped with my old textbook. Just work stress. I lied. While Rebecca's last text burned in my pocket. Sarah started trying harder. She'd surprise me with my favorite meals. She'd plan little dates around the city. She even started helping more with the garden. Getting dirt under her fingernails as she learned to plant seeds. Each plant gesture made me feel worse. And somehow, feeling worse made me run to Rebecca, even more. The affair lasted 3 months. 3 months of double lives and deleted messages. 3 months of watching Sarah plan our wedding, while I planned my escapes. 3 months of her trusting smile while I perfected the art of deception. The sunflower she loved so much became a symbol of my guilt. Every morning, watching her take those photos, I'd think about confessing. But then Rebecca would text, and I'd choose the easy path again. The end came fast. Sarah found out the way these things always do. A text message that came through while I was in the shower. Rebecca sending a photo from our last hotel meeting with the caption missing. Already. I heard Sarah scream from the bathroom. Not a yell, not a shout. A scream like her soul was being ripped out. I ran out with just a towel, water dripping everywhere, and found her sitting on our bed, holding my phone. The same bed where we'd planned our future children's names. Where she'd shown me wedding venues on her laptop. How long? Her voice was barely a whisper. I wanted to lie. Even then, even caught red-handed, my first instinct was another lie. But something about the way she looked at me, like she was seeing a stranger, made me tell the truth. 3 months. She nodded once. Set the phone down carefully on the nightstand. We'd assembled together on our 2nd anniversary. Get out. Sarah, please, let me explain. GTOW. I'd never heard her yell before. Sarah was gentle. Sarah was soft-spoken. Sarah believed in second chances and seeing the good in people. But I'd killed that Sarah. I got dressed and tried to talk to her. Tried to explain that Rebecca meant nothing. That Sarah was my everything. That I'd made a mistake. A mistake, she said, her voice hollow. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. This was 3 months of choosing someone else over me. Every single day. She was right. Each lie had been a choice. Each deleted message. Each time I'd held Rebecca instead of coming home to the woman who'd given me her whole heart. The wedding's off, Sarah said, pulling the engagement ring off her finger. I'll pack things. Come get them tomorrow when I'm at work. I begged. I pleaded. I promised to all contact with Rebecca. To go to counseling, to spend every day for the rest of my making it to her. Already chose, she said. For 3 months, chose. Now I'm choosing to. I spent that night in my car outside our building, watching the light in our apartment window. Watching her shadow move around. Probably packing my into boxes. Probably crying where I couldn't see. The next morning, I went to the garden center. Spent my last $50 on the most beautiful sunflowers I could find. Not the ones from our rooftop garden, those belonged to the man she'd fallen in love with. Not the cheater I'd become. I walked 14 blocks, in the July heat, because I'd given Rebecca the money for gas the week before. Carried those flowers like they could carry my apologies. Like they could undo 3 months of betrayal. The building super let me. Probably not knowing what I'd done. I knocked on our door, her door now, and waited. When she opened it, I saw she'd been crying for hours. Her eyes were swollen, her usually perfect hair a mess. She looked like I'd put her through a war. I brought sunflowers, I said, holding them out with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. Favorites. I walked all the way to my room is full of roses, she said quietly, not taking them. Rebecca's been sending them all morning. Apologizing for ruining my relationship. The flowers fell from my hands. 14 blocks. $50 I couldn't afford. And Rebecca was still making choices for me. She's been calling too. Sarah continued. Crying about how sorry she is. About how promised her we're gonna leave me anyway. The world tilted sideways. I never said that. She has texts. James. Screenshots. Complaining about me. About how boring I was. How I didn't understand like she did. I had said those things. God help me, I had typed those words to make Rebecca feel special, while Sarah planned our wedding. Those flowers are so proud of growing. Sarah's voice was getting stronger. Angrier. Rebecca posted pictures of them on her social media last month. Gave her seeds from our garden. From the plants I helped water. I remembered now. Rebecca had mentioned wanting to start gardening. I'd thought it was sweet. Giving her seeds from Sarah's favorites. I'd actually felt proud. Like I was sharing something beautiful. I'd given pieces of our love story to the woman who helped me destroy it. I need to leave, Sarah said. And James. Don't contact me again. Don't drive by here. Don't send mutual friends to check on me. I'm changing my number, and my job transferred me to another school. Don't get to know where. Sarah, please. She closed the door. I heard the locks turn. All 3 of them, the ones we'd installed together, after her purse got stolen. When she'd been scared. And I'd promised to always keep her safe. I picked the sunflowers from the hallway floor. Most of the petals had fallen off. Scattered like the promises I'd made and broken. Walking back down those 14 blocks, I passed Rebecca's car, parked 2 streets over. She'd been watching. Probably hoping for a show. The roses she'd sent weren't apologies, they were victory laps. The ruined sunflowers in a dumpster behind a restaurant. Where Sarah and I had our first date. The same place where I'd told her I loved her. Where she'd said she wanted to grow old with me. That was 3 weeks ago. Tomorrow. I have to go to court, because Rebecca's boyfriend found out about us and is pressing charges for something I don't even understand yet. Sarah's brother left 6 voicemails promising to destroy my if I ever contact her again. My family found out through social media, when Rebecca posted those screenshots Sarah mentioned. Everyone knows what I did. What I chose, over and over again. For 3 months. I keep thinking about those sunflowers Sarah loved. How she said, they followed the sun all day. How she followed me the same way, trusting. Constant, loyal. Even now, sitting in this terrible room, I can see her in my mind. Taking those morning photos. Dirt under her fingernails from helping with my garden. Planning our future, with the faith that I'd be there for all of it. I followed something else instead. Something that led me away from the light, and into whatever this darkness is that I'm living in now. The worst part isn't losing her. The worst part is knowing she's out there somewhere, trying to rebuild her ability to trust. wondering if the next person will destroy her too. I did that to her. The gentlest person I ever knew, and I taught her that love can be a lie. I'm writing this from my childhood bedroom at my parents' house. The same room where I used to dream about my future with Sarah. The walls are covered with participation trophies and high school photos of me looking confident. Like I had the world figured out. That kid had no idea what he'd become. The court thing I mentioned. Turns out Rebecca's boyfriend Marcus didn't just find out about us, he found out Rebecca had been stealing from their account to pay for our hotel rooms. $3,000 over 3 months. Money they'd been saving for their own wedding. Marcus pressed charges for theft and Rebecca, desperate to save herself, told the police I'd coerced her into it. That I'd manipulated her emotionally and convinced her to steal the money. Complete lie. But she had screenshots of me complaining about being broke, about how Sarah controlled our finances. Messages where I'd joked about wishing I had more money to take Rebecca somewhere nice. Out of context, it looked like I was pressuring her to fund our affair. My lawyer says I'm probably safe from criminal charges, but Marcus is suing me in civil court for the money Rebecca stole. Money I never saw but apparently benefited from. Money that paid for the hotel rooms where I destroyed The legal bills are already 3 times my savings. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part is what happened to my family. Sarah's best friend, Emma, works at the same elementary school as my sister Kate. Worked, past tense, because Kate got fired last week. See, when news of what I did spread through Sarah's school district, parents started asking questions. Not just about Sarah, who transferred schools to get away from the gossip, but about anyone connected to me. How can we trust someone whose brother is a cheater? One parent asked during a school board meeting. What kind of moral values is she teaching our children? Kate taught 3rd grade for 6 years. She won Teacher of the Year twice. She spent her own money on supplies for kids whose parents couldn't afford them. She stayed late every day tutoring struggling students for free. None of that mattered. The school district couldn't legally fire her for my actions, so they found other reasons. Suddenly her lesson plans weren't detailed enough. Her classroom management needed improvement. Parents were complaining. They said, though they wouldn't specify about what. Kate called me crying the day they let her go. Jimmy, what did do? She sobbed. 23 families requested their kids be moved out of my class. 8 years of building my reputation, gone. Because of what did to that poor girl. I tried to explain. Tried to say it wasn't fair. That my mistakes shouldn't affect her career. Fair. Kate laughed bitterly. No, it's not fair. Sarah has to see my face every day at school and remember what did to her. No, what's not fair? I have to explain to my students why I'm leaving in the middle of the year, because their parents think I'm morally corrupt by association. She hummed before I could apologize. Kate isn't speaking to me now. Neither is my older brother Mike. He found out when his coworkers started asking if he was related to that guy whose cheating scandal went viral on TikTok. Because yes, this became a TikTok thing. Rebecca, in her infinite wisdom, decided to play victim on social media. She posted a video crying about how I manipulated her into an affair. How I convinced her she was in a relationship with Marcus. How I made her steal money to fund our escape plan. The video got 2 million views. The comments were brutal, but not toward Rebecca. Toward me. People dug my social media, Sarah's old posts about our relationship, photos from our engagement party. They found the pictures Sarah posted of our garden, her captions about growing sunflowers with the love of her. Someone found Sarah's school newsletter where she'd written about her students' flower garden project. How her fiancé had taught her everything she knew about growing things. The contrast was devastating. Here was this sweet teacher, talking about growing flowers with her partner. And here was Rebecca's story about that same partner manipulating her into theft and adultery. Theft justice for Sarah started trending. People found my work LinkedIn. My company's Google reviews got bombed with comments about hiring cheaters. My boss called me into his office Friday morning. James, we need to talk about social media presence, he said, sliding a printed stack of screenshots across his desk. Screenshots of the reviews. This company employs James Morrison, the guy who stole thousands from his affair partner and emotionally abused 2 women. Do want to support a business that keeps predators on payroll. I never stowed anything, I said weakly. Doesn't matter. My boss replied. 3 clients have already asked to switch account managers. We've lost 2 potential contracts because people recognized name. I'm sorry, James. But we're going to have to let go. 8 years at that company. Gone. They gave me 2 weeks' pay and had security me out. Like I was dangerous. Like I might steal office supplies or corrupt my coworkers with my mere presence. The security guard, a guy named Carl, who I'd chatted with every morning for years, wouldn't make eye contact. That's when it really hit me. This wasn't just about Sarah anymore. This was about who I'd become in everyone's eyes. Not just a cheater, but a manipulator. A predator. Someone parents needed to protect their children from. My mom cried when I told her about the job. How did we raise to be like this? She asked. Father and I. We've been married 34 years. We taught about commitment. About treating women with respect. Dad hasn't spoken to me since I moved back home. He just leaves the room when I enter. Yesterday I caught him on the phone with someone. Probably my uncle. I don't know what wrong, he was saying. He used to be such a good kid. Sarah was perfect for him. We thought we were getting a daughter. They'd loved Sarah. She'd come to every family dinner, helped mom in the kitchen, listened to dad's boring work stories, with genuine interest. Last Christmas, she'd given them a photo album of all our family gatherings with a note. Thank for making me feel like I belong. They'd already picked out their outfits for our wedding. The wedding that should have happened next month. I found the planning binder Sarah left behind when she moved out. She'd forgotten it in her rush to escape our 200 pages of carefully planned dreams. Venue bookings, flower arrangements, menu tastings, seating charts. She'd written little notes in the margins. James loves chocolate cake, but his mom is diabetic. Ask about sugar, free options. Remember, James gets anxious in crowds. Seat him near the bathroom for easy escapes. Even planning our wedding, she'd been thinking about my comfort, my needs, my family. On the guest list, she'd added names I'd forgotten to include. My college roommate who moved across the country. My cousin who I only see at funerals. She'd remembered everyone who mattered to me. And made sure they were invited to celebrate our love. A love I'd thrown away for 3 months of hotel rooms and deleted messages. The legal stuff is getting worse. Marcus's lawyer sent a letter demanding I pay not just for the money Rebecca stole, but for their therapy costs, their broken lease when Marcus couldn't afford their apartment alone, and something called intentional infliction of emotional distress. Apparently, when Rebecca told Marcus about us, he had what his lawyer calls a psychological break. He was hospitalized for 3 days. Lost his job as an insurance adjuster. Because he couldn't focus, kept crying at work, couldn't handle talking to clients about their own disasters when his had become one. Now he stocks shelves at a grocery store and lives with his parents. Rebecca, meanwhile, has somehow spun this whole thing into a platform. She's got 30,000 TikTok followers now. Posting about surviving manipulation and healing from relationships. She started a Patreon where people pay her to talk about red flags in dating. She's making money off our affair. Off Sarah's pain. Off the destruction of everyone's lives. And the worst part. She's not wrong about everything. I did complain about Sarah. I did make Rebecca feel like she was saving me from a boring relationship. I did let her spend money on us that wasn't hers to spend. I did manipulate her, even if I didn't think of it that way at the time. The truth is uglier than Rebecca's version, but not by much. I've been seeing a therapist, Dr. Martinez, trying to understand how I became this person. She asks hard questions. One were with Rebecca, did think about Sarah. Yes, every time. Which made it worse, not better. Did enjoy the secrecy. The honest answer is yes. The sneaking around, the forbidden nature of it, the feeling of getting away with something. It was exciting in a way my stable relationship with Sarah wasn't. Did want a Sarah? No. But I did want to feel like I had options. Like I was choosing Sarah instead of just settling for her. The affair made me feel desirable, exciting, worth fighting for. Sarah never made me for her. She just loved me, consistently and completely. Which somehow made me value her less. Dr. Martinez says this is common. That people often destroy the most stable, loving relationships in their lives because stability feels boring compared to chaos. Sabotaged own happiness. She said last session. The question is why. I think I know why now. Sarah loved me too much. She saw the best version of me, and believed that's who I really was. But I knew better. I knew I was capable of selfishness, of cruelty, of choosing my own pleasure over someone else's well-being. The affair wasn't about Rebecca. It was about proving that Sarah was wrong about me. Mission accomplished. I lost my apartment along with my job. Couldn't make rent without income. And no one wants to hire the guy from the viral cheating scandal. I've applied to 47 jobs in the past 2 weeks. 3 callbacks, all of which ended when they Googled my name. One hiring manager was honest about it. We just can't take the risk. What if have affairs with coworkers? What if clients find out who are? It's not personal, it's business. Everything is personal when the cautionary tale people share at parties. My college friend Derek, one of the only people still talking to me, says Sarah moved across the state. Got a job teaching at a rural school where nobody knows her story. She's living with her aunt and uncle, trying to rebuild her from scratch at 28 years old. She's in therapy. Derek told me. Pretty messed about trusting people. Her aunt says she flinches when men talk to her now. I did that. I broke something fundamental in the kindest person I've ever known. The sunflower garden on our old roof is dead now. The new tenants don't water it. I drove by yesterday and saw the brown, wilted stalks still in their containers, like grave markers for the we should have had. I keep thinking about what Sarah said the morning she found out. Already chose. For 3 months. Chose. She was right. Every text to Rebecca was a choice. Every lie to Sarah was a choice. Every hotel room was a choice. But I didn't understand then. That I wasn't just choosing Rebecca over Sarah. I was choosing the kind of person I wanted to be. I chose to be someone who could look the woman I claimed to love in the eyes, and lie to her face. Someone who could accept her trust while betraying it. Someone who could let her plan our wedding, while I planned my escapes. I chose to be someone I can barely stand to live with. I'm writing this final part. 6 months later, from a studio apartment in a town where nobody knows my name. At least, they didn't until yesterday. The civil lawsuit ended 3 weeks ago. I owe Marcus $8,400 plus court costs. Money I don't have from a job I can't keep, because everywhere I go, someone eventually recognizes me from the viral videos that refuse to. My lawyer said I could declare bankruptcy. Start fresh. But fresh is a luxury I don't deserve when Sarah will spend years in therapy trying to trust again. I've been working construction, cash jobs mostly, staying off social media, trying to disappear. But the internet is forever. And so is the damage I caused. Yesterday, a woman at the grocery store stopped me in the cereal aisle. "We're that guy," she said, not even trying to whisper. "The one who destroyed that teacher. My daughter's in college now, but if some man did to her what did to that girl." She didn't finish She didn't need to. The cashier recognized me too. Suddenly everyone in line was staring, whispering, taking photos. I left my groceries and walked home. But not before hearing someone call out. Sarah deserved better. They're right. Sarah deserved everything I couldn't be. I found out last month that she's engaged again. Derek told me. Though he probably shouldn't have. A man named David who teaches at her new school. They'd been together 8 months. She's happy. Derek said carefully. Really happy. But she still flinches sometimes. Still checks his phone when he's not looking. Left scars, man. 8 months. She grieved our 4-year relationship and found love again in less time than I've spent learning how to live with what I did. I'm glad she's happy. I'm glad. Because it feels selfish even to have an opinion about her anymore. But I am glad. She deserves someone who chooses her every single day. The wedding announcement was in her hometown paper. I found it online during my weak moments when I searched her name. The photo showed her in a simple dress. Laughing at something David said. Looking radiant in a way I'd forgotten she could look. He's growing a garden with her. The announcement mentioned their shared love of sunflowers. She took our story and made it clean again. Gave those flowers new meaning with someone who won't them with lies. I printed the photo. I don't know why. Maybe. Because it's proof that people can heal from the damage I cause. That Sarah didn't just survive what I did to her, but found something better on the other side. She looks like herself again. The woman I fell in love with, before I taught her that love could be a weapon. My family situation hasn't improved. Kate found a new teaching job 2 states away. But she still won't return my calls. Might sends a Christmas card to mom and dad, but leaves my name off it completely. Like I've been erased from the family. Dad speaks to me now, but only in practical terms. Pass the salt. Mother needs help with groceries. The lawyer called about the Marcus thing. Mom tries harder, but I can see the disappointment in her eyes every time she looks at me. She's gotten older, this past year. Stress lines around her eyes that weren't there before. I did that to her. Made her question how she raised me. Made her ashamed to talk about her son to her friends. I don't understand. She said last week while we were washing dishes. Sarah was such a lovely girl. Seemed so happy. I was happy. That's what makes this so much worse. I had everything I claimed to want, and I destroyed it, because some broken part of me needed to prove I could. The therapy with Dr. Martinez ended when I couldn't afford to keep paying her. But she left me with something in our last session that I think about every day. James. Keep talking about the person became, like this was a transformation. But people don't become cheaters. They reveal that they always were. She was wrong about that. I wasn't always this person. But I was always capable of being this person. And when the opportunity came, I chose to be him. The worst part about living with that truth is how it changes every thought knew about. I can't watch romantic movies without thinking about the men who promise forever and don't mean it. I can't see happy couples without wondering which one will eventually destroy it all. I've become someone who knows too much about how easily love can be betrayed. Someone who carries the weight of being the monster in someone else's fairy tale. Rebecca disappeared from social media about 3 months ago. Her Patreon closed. Her TikTok went private, and the inspirational posts about surviving manipulation stopped. Derek heard through mutual friends that Marcus took her back. They moved to another state, trying to rebuild what I helped break. I hope they make it. I hope Rebecca learned something about the cost of betrayal. I hope Marcus can trust her again, though I know from experience how hard it is to believe in someone who proved they could lie to face for months. I hope they're better than we were. The sunflower season came and went without me planting any. I thought about it, buying seeds at the hardware store. But it felt wrong. Like I was trying to reclaim something that never belonged to me in the first place. Those flowers were always Sarah's. I was just the one who helped them grow before I burned the garden down. I've started writing letters I'll never send. To Sarah, to Kate, to my parents, to Marcus. Apologies that feel too small and explanations that sound like excuses. Words that can't undo the choices I made every day for 3 months. The letter to Sarah is 17 pages long. I've rewritten it dozens of times trying to find a way to say, I'm sorry. That doesn't sound like I want forgiveness. Because I don't. Forgiveness is for people who made mistakes, not for people who made calculated decisions to destroy the best thing in their lives. In the letter, I tell her about the morning I almost confessed. It was a Saturday in February, 2 months into the affair. She'd made pancakes, and was showing me photos her students had drawn of their families. One little boy had drawn his parents as superheroes, cape and all. That's how kids see their parents. She said, laughing. Like we can protect them from anything. I almost told her then. Almost admitted what I'd been doing. What I was planning to keep doing. But Rebecca texted about meeting for lunch, and I chose silence again. I chose to let Sarah keep believing in superheroes while I planned my next betrayal. In the letter, I tell her I understand why she flinches around men now. I understand why she checks David's phone. I understand that the worst thing I did wasn't sleeping with Rebecca. It was proving to Sarah that the person who knows best, who has complete trust, who sleeps beside every night, can be the one who destroys. I tell her that David is lucky to love someone who fought through that fear, and chose to trust again. That her courage in loving after betrayal is something I'll never be brave enough to do. I tell her the sunflowers in her wedding photo look perfect. But I'll never send the letter. She's building a new. And I'm part of the old one, she had to down to survive. The kindest thing I can do is stay buried in those ashes. The construction job ended last week when the foreman found out who I was. Someone had shown him the TikTok videos during lunch break. He pulled me aside afterward. "Look, seem like you're trying to do better," he said. "But I got a daughter age. I can't look at, and not think about what think of that girl." I packed my tools and left without arguing. He was right to fire me. I wouldn't want me around his daughter either. I've been thinking about moving again. Maybe somewhere further away. Somewhere the internet takes longer to reach, but there's no distance far enough to outrun what I am, what I chose to become. People talk about rock bottom like it's a place land, and then bounce back from. But some bottoms aren't made for bouncing. Some are made for staying down, for learning to live in the hole dug. This is mine. I think about Sarah every morning, when I wake, and every night before I sleep. Not because I want her back, I lost the right to want anything from her. The first time, I lied to her face. I think about her because she's the measure of the damage I can do, when I stop caring about anyone but. She's proof that I'm capable of destroying something pure and beautiful, and irreplaceable. Then walking away while she cleans the mess. She's proof that love isn't enough, if the person receiving it is fundamentally broken. The photo of her wedding sits on my desk, next to the wilted sunflower, pressed between book pages. The last one from our garden before it died. A reminder of what grows when tend something with care. And what happens when let it all. Tomorrow I'll look for another job. In another town. Using another version of my name. I'll try to build something small and quiet. And far from anyone I could. But I'll always be the man who had everything and chose to destroy it. The man who turned love into a lie and trust into a weapon. The man who proved that sometimes the person are supposed to be able to count on most, is the one who will worst. I walked miles in the burning sun to bring her a flower. But by then, I'd already chosen the fire over the garden. And some choices don't get to take back. No matter how many miles, or willing to walk.